city of Las Vegas being so glamorous and glitzy, meeting that sort of situation of, I guess, the Princess Diaries, where you find out that you're royalty, in their case they're Las Vegas royalty, that it would be a lot of fun to write about. And so that's basically where the idea came from. And if anyone wants to ask me any questions, like now I'll do that, or I could just tell you a little bit more about my writing process, whatever you want. So I'm going to leave that to you. If anyone has any questions, you can raise your hands and ask. Yes?
Are any of your characters based off of any of the characters in Gossip Girl or Pretty Little Liars?
They're not based off the characters in Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars. Like, some of my characters have some of my own personality traits in them, and some of them have personality traits of my friends. I've heard that one of the guys in my Secret Diamond Sisters book is very much like Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl. He's Oliver Prescott, and he is a huge party boy, huge player. Like, he gets all the girls, and he's super, super hot. And he's definitely the Chuck Bass of the series. Yes, I think everyone loves Chuck Bass. Well, the Chuck in the TV show was the good one. Like, I don't know if anyone's read the book, but he was a little bit weird in the books. Like, for sure. I saw a question up there, yeah.
Oh, why do you write YA?
Why do I write YA? Well, Kirsten, when she said it all about YA being about beginnings and new starts and opportunities, it's pretty much the same reason why I write it. I also love to read it, so it kind of made sense for me to write it. All my favorite books are YA, just because I feel like there's so much opportunity in YA to just explore more with your genre. Like, there's really no exact plot line that you have to follow. I feel like teens have a very open mind. There's so many different possibilities that are out there, and there are so many genres within the YA genre. So I was able to write my Transcend Time story, which was about reincarnation and time travel, and then go on to write a fun, glitzy contemporary, but have it all be in the same genre. So I just like that there's so many different options out there, and that I feel like I have a lot more freedom when I write YA, just to explore with more ideas. Any more questions? Yes?
What was your writing process like for this?
My writing process. Well, for my first book, as I said, I was a junior in college, and my biggest challenge for me when I was writing in college was finding time to write when I was taking all my classes, doing my homework. I was also involved in a sorority, so I had all the sorority life stuff going on. But I knew that I wanted to finish my book before my junior year, and to really see if this was something that was going to be a possibility for me with writing before graduation. Because deciding you want to be a writer is like kind of an intimidating thing. Like, before I even started, I was like, well, I can't, be an author. That's like saying I want to be a rock star, or I want to be an actress. It's just not a realistic goal. But finally, I realized that this was something I loved doing. Like, I've loved writing stories ever since probably second grade. I remember that I would be that kid who, when we had free write days in our journal class, I would write these like 12-page long stories, and then insist on standing up and sharing them with my class, and everyone else would just write a paragraph, and I would have this long story. So I've always loved storytelling. I've always had fun with it. And so I thought, I'm never going to know if I can write a book and at least try if I don't give myself a chance and try to write a book. So I had a break time in between two of my classes in the afternoons. I think it was from like 1 to 2 in the afternoon. And I designated that as my official writing time. So every day, Monday through Friday, I would sit in my room and I would write 1,000 words. And my goal was just to get the 1,000 words down on my paper. I wasn't trying to write, a book in 2 weeks or anything crazy like that. I was just trying to take it day by day. And that's really what my process is like, is, 1,000 words every day. Now I boosted up to 1,500 words every day, because if you keep going at it, like, you'll have a book written in a few months. And if you look at it as one big chunk of a book, I find that to be the most intimidating thing, because, that's a lot to write. And it's scary to think about. So if I break it down into little sections, I find it much easier just to conquer that every day and be proud of myself every day for getting 1,000 words down. And one thing I was also very careful to do was never have too much pressure on myself for my first draft. My goal was to get 1,000 words down every day, and I knew they didn't have to be perfect. They just had to be something I could work with in the future when I was editing. Because as a writer who said this, I don't remember who said it, but it was a writer who said that you can't edit a blank page. So you have to have something to work with. So I would make sure I did that, and I kept writing my 1,000 words every day, and I finished the first draft before the summer of my junior year. And then I signed with my first literary agent. It was the very beginning of my senior year in college, so that was a really exciting time for me, just because I had kind of proven to myself that, of course your friends and family are all going to say they like your book, but when someone who's in the industry then says, oh, I think there's real potential, like, it gives you a feeling like, maybe this is something that I can do. This person has no reason to believe in me other than the fact that they think that this book could go somewhere, so that gave me a lot of added encouragement. But my family and friends were also very encouraging. My mom looked through it and she edited books. She actually hates reading, but she read my books for me and was able to tell me whenever I had a plot mess up or anything that didn't make sense to the reader. My best friend in college would read every chapter after I wrote it, and she was my little cheerleader. She told me she needed to know what was going to happen next. So knowing that I had someone waiting for each additional chapter just kept me going when I was starting out. And then I wrote the entire Transcend Time saga while I went around the country speaking at high schools. I promoted these books, literally selling them from the backseat of my car because I just wanted to get word out about who I was and what my books are about. And I wrote The Secret Diamond Sisters right after graduating college. And again, it was the same 1,500 words a day. I am a huge fan of outlining an entire book before I even start writing it. For me, I can't write a book without having an outline. If I sit down without knowing where the plot's going, I just drive myself absolutely crazy. So I need to know scene by scene what's going to happen. And my outlines are the most detailed things ever. I think my recent outline that I wrote was 15,000 words long, which is the size of a little novella. It's I literally have scene by scene what's going to happen. I even have sometimes lines that I picture the characters saying in my outlines. And then when I'm writing my first draft, I find I never get writer's block because I have the entire book planned out already. So I just look at my outline, I reference it, and I'm transforming that outline into a draft. And it's just a very different part of processing for me in my brain, I guess. Plotting is one thing, and that's separate from me than drafting. So I like to separate them out. And there are some writers who just sit down and they just write a book super fast and then they go back and edit later, but that's never been me. And I think one of the most important things as a writer is to know that there are so many different ways that you can go about writing a book. There's no one right way. There's only the right way for you. So you have to experiment with different ways that you can write a book and find out what works best for you. I didn't want to say that I could only outline. And so I decided I was going to try to write on the seat of my pants and see what happened. And I tried it and it didn't work for me. So I know now never to do that ever again. But I only know because I tried. So, at least try different ways and just to figure out what works for you. Are there any other